Hey guys, Hop here. Thank you for tuning into the Nova Group. This is a Tracer Tactical Head Harness. This is one of the many soft options for wearing night vision that's, in theory, a lot cheaper and more compactable than a helmet. There are a couple of reasons to get one of these, some good, some bad. I've previously owned a Crye Precision Nightcap, actually more than once. I used to have one, used it a couple of times and thought, this is the most miserable I've been in my entire life, and I promptly sold it. Then Brassfax did a video talking about all of the reasons why you might want to keep one around anyway, basically to create yourself kind of a packable night vision setup. You have the head harness, you have your night vision device, you can stow it into a small part of a backpack. It's a very discreet, low-profile way to carry night vision. Doesn't weigh a whole lot. So I was convinced. I got another one. I used it a couple more times, and then once again got rid of it. I find the experience of using the Crye Precision Nightcap truly miserable. This Tracer Tactical Head Harness is better in some ways than the Crye Nightcap, worse in others, so that's what we're going to talk about today. I picked this thing up for about $125, and that's a bundle that includes the harness itself, the counterweight pouch holder thing, and the chin strap. So that's a little bit more expensive than the Crye Nightcap, but the Crye Nightcap does not come with a battery pack holder by default. You gotta buy that separately. So comparable in price to a Crye Nightcap. Neither of them comes with the shroud that you're going to need to attach to the front, and then the mount that you're gonna need to attach to the shroud, and then the arm that you're gonna need to attach to your night vision device. One thing that makes the Crye Nightcap not very comfortable is the fact that it doesn't have a lot of adjustment built in. The basis of it is sort of like a mesh bucket that goes over the top of your head, whereas this is just a very skeletal system of straps, which gives you a lot more adjustment, and theoretically you can make this a lot more comfortable, tailor it to your specific head shape. As you can probably guess by looking at this nightmare of different straps and tri-glides, this thing is a real pain in the ass to set up. It takes a long time, but Tracer Tactical does have a nice video going over how to set it up, and once you experiment with it a little bit, you can actually get it adjusted pretty easily. It does take some time, but you got quite a lot of options for where to run all your different straps and where to place your tri-glides on the head so that they don't interfere with other stuff that you may want to wear, such as hearing protection. I don't have the chin strap attached to this thing anymore. I found that it was very uncomfortable and also definitely got in the way of hearing protection. If I set it up the way that it is right now, then I can actually put over-the-ear earmuffs on top of this, and they don't actually really get in the way of this tri-glide here. If I had the chin strap attached, it would be getting in the way, totally compromising the seal of the hearing protection, so it would be very uncomfortable and not really worth wearing anyway. The chin strap is also the biggest downside on the Tracer Tactical versus the Crye Nightcap. The Crye version has that kind of a split chin strap that actually cups your chin like on a helmet, whereas the Tracer Tactical chin strap is actually more of a neck strap. It just goes underneath your chin, and it's pretty damn uncomfortable and also doesn't provide all that much stability. It's really just there to keep this whole thing from lifting off the top of your head if you have it, loaded up with a counterweight and a night vision device, and you, shake your head really fast or like lean over so that the device is no longer sitting on top of your head. If you're not intending to use this thing in like super high intensity movements, or you plan to put hearing protection over the top of it anyway, then I think you can safely omit the chin strap, as long as you're cognizant of the fact that really tossing your head around like you're headbanging at a rave is probably not a good idea. This thing really works best for relatively low intensity movement, like hiking at night under nods, or just sort of casual shooting at the range or stargazing, stuff like that. Another aspect of these soft night vision harness systems that makes them not so great for anything involving movement is that they are very flexible. So if you're running around, the entire thing is going to shift and your night vision device is going to start bouncing, which makes it harder to look through, and also often will result in your night vision device banging repeatedly into your eyes and the bridge of your nose, which is fucking horrible. One of the main things that I really hated about the Crye Nightcap. Essentially only good for standing and like low intensity walking. I've seen stuff like the Nightcap and this Tracer Tactical harness get brought up in response to anybody wearing a bump helmet, essentially saying, hey, if it's not going to protect your head anyway, why don't you save the weight and save the cost and just get something soft and flexible like that? And the reason is stability. Even a cheap bump helmet is going to provide way more stability, and it's also a mounting platform for your hearing protection, flashers, a bunch of other stuff. It's going to be so much more usable than any of these soft systems. Another thing that you may run into with one of these is that you have to pick your shroud and your mount setup kind of carefully. I've tried it out with a couple of different things. I started out just using it with this airsoft knockoff of a Wilcox, I think it was a G69 mount. And the idea was that, I'll make it as low profile and as lightweight as possible. However, you may run into an issue where, depending on the mount that you use, you're not going to have enough adjustment. You need to be able to get the night vision device way out in front of your face, because, unlike on a helmet, there's almost no standoff here. Of course, this mount is essentially, a centimeter away from your forehead, because this cushioned piece right here is squishing right up against your face. Compare that to a helmet, which is going to be thicker than this, and it's also going to be sitting farther away from your head. All of the mount and shroud combinations that I've tried on this had to be adjusted all the way forward in order to work with just a standard PVS 14 style optics. The setup balances pretty well if I use it with my Lowlight Innovations LLUL 21s and the included battery pack. I have the older model of battery pack that takes 4 batteries and has 2 additional outboard slots for batteries, so basically it's a plastic battery pack with 6 AA's in it. And I did have to add a little bit of extra weight. I just Velcroed some standard helmet weights onto the back of this. This thing here is a battery case. The Vault. You can get these from some guy on Etsy who prints them and makes them up in a couple of different colors. You could put a couple of weights in there as well as a couple of spare batteries and use it as a counterweight for a monocular. Again, keeping the weight down with a monocular, pretty helpful. It will be easier to balance the forward weight of a monocular, but again, the lack of stability is really going to kill you with a monocular versus a binocular system. It's going to drag the harness, off-center down on your head, making it pretty uncomfortable. Same problem with the Crye Nightcap, although the more comfortable chin strap on the Nightcap does help keep the harness in place a little bit better than it does on this one.
Yeah, you look miserable. That looks... Turn your head.
You can tell it's not even. I mean, it sags because one side is heavier than the other.
Yeah. Nah, man, that sucks.
So I am going to hang on to this because it's enough more comfortable than the Crye Nightcap that I don't mind wearing it, sparingly. And I still like the idea of a packable night vision setup. If you put one of these and a monocular in your backpack, you've got a very small, low-vis setup that's not going to stand out as much as like a bump helmet on the back of your backpack. And if you carry a pistol with a red dot on it, well, then you have everything on your person to move under night vision and even engage targets under night vision if you need to. Ultimately, Brassfax was right. As usual, this is a very useful piece of kit to have around. I just prefer the Tracer Tactical version. And there's another one from a company called Carcajou Tactical, which is very similar, a skeletal style soft head harness, kind of like this Tracer Tactical one. I assume that they're virtually interchangeable. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Nova Group if you haven't already. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'll see you next time.